You already booked your Bali vacation or you want to come to Bali in the future? Today I will tell you everything that you need to know before coming here so your trip will be perfect. We will talk about visa, the new Bali Tourism Levy, how to get a SIM card, transportation, doctors and so much more. So stay till the end because this is the only video that you're going to need to arrive in Bali. We start with the most important part, the flights, and if you haven't booked already, I recommend you to search them up on Skyscanner. It's the best platform in my opinion, and you can also purchase your flights or upgrade them with miles like I did for my last first class flight here to Bali. You can look that up in the video and how I just paid 10% of that price and just paid the rest of it with miles, so check that out. And if you're staying anyways just for a 2-week vacation, you probably already got your return flight, but if you're planning to stay longer and you don't want to book a return flight already, you need to buy an onboard ticket, which basically means the company lends you a return flight ticket for about 48 hours. I got mine from Best Onboard Tickets. I will link it down below. You can just buy it for $12 and show it to the airline because otherwise they won't let you board. So just get it for $12 and you will be safe. When you arrive in Bali, you will get out of the plane and then you will arrive in a massive big hall for the visas, and I highly recommend you to not just go there and make your visa on arrival in Bali because there will be a massive line. And Bali has a brand new feature, which is the visa digital entrance gates, which means you can apply for your visa on arrival already online. I will link you all of the websites down below. You can apply for it online. It costs about $30, 500,000 rupiah, which is the same price that you would pay here. You could pay it with credit card and so on. You just get a document with the QR code and then you can just walk through those visa gates. You just scan your passport and your visa on arrival and you're already in. There's no line in front of that, so that's pretty nice. The visa on arrival is typically for 30 days, so that $30 will last you 30 days, and you can extend it for one more time, another 30 days for around $30 I think. But if you plan to stay longer than that, you will need another visa, and I recommend you to get it when you're out of Bali and not inside, because then I think it's maybe a little bit harder and you need to get out of Bali again to activate that. And if you need more information on that, you can text me on Instagram. I can give you the contact details of my visa agent. I was super happy with him and got a longer visa because I really want to stay here long term. So I will also link my Instagram down below. You can contact me and I will just hand you over my visa agent. The next important thing is the Bali Tourism Levy, which is actually just tourism fees so they can build better roads and so on. I actually think it's a pretty good thing, and you just go on that website. I will link it in the description, and it's about 150,000 rupiah, which is $10, so it's really not that much, and it really helps out Bali to get rid of a lot of tourism problems. So just fill out the form and pay with credit card or whatever, and then you get the QR code, which is yet not requested at the airport, so you don't have to show that yet, but a lot of hotels request it, or maybe if you do some tours they want to see it. So it's really important to just pay it before you arrive and you're all safe. In addition to that, you have to fill out the customs form, which is basically just a form where you fill a little bit out how many bags you will have and so on, and after that you will get a QR code which you will just show at the customs and they will just wink you through. So fill that out. You can do it maximum 3 days before arrival. Keep that in mind, but you need it once you arrive here. And I think Bali and Indonesia is pretty digital in that aspect. And right now Bali is also discussing if every tourist should download a tracking app before entering. So don't have to do it now. As we entered, nobody wants to see an app, but this can change at any time. So just look it up on the Bali or Indonesia website if they want you to download that app. But in general, the entrance into Bali was super easy, just through that gate and through the custom declaration, and then you were already out. The next point is a SIM card, and I highly recommend you to get an eSIM before you arrive here. I personally used Holafly. It's super easy and quick to install, and you have internet right away when you're landing in Bali. I will also have a link in the description where you get 5% off their prices. They are already super cheap, and it's just pretty convenient to just straight away have internet, and you don't have that stress of right away getting a SIM card in the airport. And I recommend you to use the provider Telkomsel in Indonesia. They also have a store in the airport, and I recommend you to check their prices, what they charge you for a tourist card, because we didn't went there because we thought they maybe charge higher prices and we already had the eSIM. But just check it out. You should pay between 100,000 until 250,000 maximum for a SIM card, which is between $6 until $16. Your internet for that month should be already included, between 15 to maybe even 50 gigabytes. Don't pay more than that. If they charge you more than that, you can just straight away go out of the airport and get one SIM card in the area where you live on the next day. You can watch in your surrounded area to Telkomsel stores. There are a lot of shops that sell like phone stuff and shoes and so on, and also sell SIM cards, but don't go to them because they will charge you crazy high prices. They tried to charge us like 600,000 for just one tourist SIM card, which we didn't pay because we knew they were scamming us. But you need to look for real Telkomsel stores. They are big and everywhere is red and it says Telkomsel, so really recognizable when you drive by. And in that stores you should able to get that tourist SIM card and just get to a real Telkomsel store and make life easy with a eSIM, so you don't have the stress on the airport. If you watched until here, this means you find it interesting or got value out of it. So please help me out, like and subscribe to help this channel grow. So how do you get to your hotel or Airbnb? You can download Gojek and Grab. Both of them are pretty just like Uber. Gojek is a little bit cheaper, but they both have great prices. We paid around $10 for a 1.5 hours drive, so they are pretty cheap. And when you walk out of the airport, you pass the SIM card shops and so on, there will be a lot of people with signs that they are a taxi driver. Some of them will even say they are a Grab or Gojek driver. Please don't believe them, don't try to negotiate with them, because they are trying to charge you super high prices that you would never pay with Grab or Gojek. Just walk straight all the way. You will just pass all of them, just ignore them with a friendly smile and say no, and then you will arrive at the Grab and Gojek lounge. It's a big building which is green, and on the one side it says Gojek and on another side it says Grab. And when you go to that store, you just, for example, if you decide to go for Gojek, which we did because it was a little bit cheaper, you just walk inside of that building. They have a little lounge area. You just order from your app. You can already insert your credit cards and create your account before flying, and then you just order your Grab or Gojek and wait in that lounge, and they will call you if your Gojek driver is already there and just get you out to the car, and then you will have a pretty chilled car drive until your Airbnb. Where to stay, how to find your Airbnb or hotel. One important part is that in Bali you don't want to stay in one place for all the time. Make yourself a little plan on what places you actually want to see. I will not pack it in this video because it will be way too much, but I will make more videos about Bali, the different places and so on. But Bali is so different. When you just drive for half an hour or 1 hour, you will have a complete different place with other positive and negative sides. So just decide where you want to start and look for Airbnbs, which are a pretty good option if you want to stay like in a villa with pool or maybe an apartment. And you can be sure that you have an insurance. If something is not right with the Airbnb, Airbnb will support you and refund you. Or you're looking for hotels over like Booking.com, Expedia or Agoda, which is a very big hotel platform here in Asia, which I didn't knew from Europe, but you get pretty good prices and a lot of hotels are on Agoda. So definitely check that out, and don't book just one Airbnb or hotel for your stay, because traffic is pretty big, and even if the distance is not so far, you don't want to drive in traffic all the time. So just book different Airbnbs, hotels, and rather just move multiple times than just stay in one and try to explore the whole island from that one point. And also one important thing about Bali that we learned really the hard way back when we were here 2021 is that you have to read the reviews of your Airbnbs and hotels. Just check it out on Airbnb. They have a function where you can just view the recent reviews. If something didn't got reviews like the whole last year, that's kind of a red flag. And often in Bali, if something is not used regularly, you get a moldy smell in the apartment or even in the hotel rooms. So read the reviews, and also there are a lot of constructions. So in the reviews, when it says there is a lot of construction right in front of the apartment, villa, hotel, whatever, listen to that. If it's really just a 2-week vacation for yourself and you want to relax at that villa, don't book it, because the construction can be really loud and annoying. We had one in our first apartment right in front of the door, and for us it was not that bad because we stayed to be here long term anyways. But if it's just your vacation and you really don't want a construction in front of your house, which is understandable, read all of these reviews. And if something looks a bit fishy, because the Airbnbs will look a little bit smaller and just a little bit worse in real life, because they have super good photographers here in Bali. Be careful when someone states something negative about the Airbnb. Really think twice if you want to book it or if you want to go with another option, because here are so many options to book. So just get yourself a nice one that you know you will be happy with. Also, if you're staying here longer, you can also text the Airbnbs and maybe find also apartment and villas over Facebook here, because then you don't have to pay the Airbnb fee, which is quite high, especially if you rent it for a month. But you also don't have the insurance from Airbnb if something is not the way that you expected it. So I would only recommend this if you're planning to stay here long term and you can visit the Airbnbs and apartments before you book. Don't book it over Facebook and so on if you're not here and cannot visit the villas before. In case you're wondering why I'm sitting in the kitchen right now, I just realized that one part of the video is missing. So about the transportation in Bali, you have a few options. You have Grab and Gojek, which I already mentioned. You can order taxi cars and you can also taxi motorbikes, which are pretty cheap, pretty convenient and fast. And I highly recommend you to use Gojek and Grab motorbike taxis if you're just here for short term, or if you've never driven a scooter or motorbike. I don't recommend you to drive one on your own, because the traffic here is pretty chaotic. But if you have already experience in driving motorbikes or scooters, I can highly recommend you renting one on your own, because it can be way cheaper than Gojek and Grab in the long term, and also you're way more flexible and it's just way more fun and a very unique way to just drive around and stop whenever you want to and just explore the island on this way. So that's the reason why I rented myself a scooter, because I can drive it and I really love to drive around and stop just wherever I want and be spontaneous and so on. Because if you rent Grab or Gojek for longer drives, from example 1.5 hours Canggu to Ubud and so on, it can get really pricey if you pay $10 every time for every drive, and then you probably be just cheaper renting a motorbike. So I rented one myself, and I can highly recommend you, before you recommend a motorbike, read the reviews on Google, because there are some motorbike rentals that try to scam you when you have to deposit money or even your passport, which I would rarely recommend, because you never know how the person renting out will react if they try to charge you for a scratch that you didn't do. You know, everything can happen. Just read the reviews on Google. But I can also link down a very good friend of mine, because I'm really happy that she opened a rental for scooters, because I just know that she is not a rental that tries to scam you or do sketchy shit. You get super good scooters, because often when you rent here in Bali, the scooters are not in a perfect condition. Something doesn't really work. So I can highly recommend her place. That's also where I got my scooter. I will link her Instagram below, and with the discount code Jessie the Nomad, you will also get 5% off the price. They can also deliver in some parts of Bali, so just text her. She's very flexible. Just get yourself a scooter if you can drive that, and you can also rent a whole car with a driver here. My friend who's renting out the scooters also has one. You can text her, and it makes sense, especially if you're making a day trip with some friends. You're driving to some waterfalls, to Ubud, to some beaches, which is a little bit further. You don't have to wait until you get a Grab or Gojek car, and it can be cheaper if you're adding all of these different Grab and Gojek car rides together. It can be cheaper to just get one driver for the day and you don't have to wait for any Gojek to arrive, so it's really convenient. And we have one last point, which is being sick, doctors, insurance, and so on. First of all, I want to tell you that you don't have to listen to all of those horror stories from people coming to Bali and getting super sick or talking about crazy deadly mosquitoes and so on. I was also a little bit scared, even though I was already in Bali, but everyone was kind of screaming on Instagram that it's so bad that when you hear, you kind of already die instantly when you arrive, and that is not the point. I just have maybe seen in 2 weeks like 2 mosquitoes, which is in general, you will just not get any kind of disease if a mosquito bites you. I was already here for months in 2021 and I never had a crazy disease or something. The last 2 weeks I just had a little cold for about 5 days, pretty normal cold. When you need a doctor, they are so amazing here. They are even better than in my home country, Germany, which you don't expect in Bali, but they are really amazing. You just Google on Google Maps doctor and you will get so many doctors that you can choose from. You can read the reviews and then you just text them on WhatsApp, because every business here in Canggu and in Bali is on WhatsApp. You just text them. If it's the laundry or the spa or the doctors, you can text all of them on WhatsApp. A lot of them are open 24/7. They will tell you to come to their place and also you get the medication right away. And now the point is the most important. You need to have a travel insurance. If you're just traveling here for 2-3 weeks, maybe a month, you can just get a normal medical travel insurance, which costs you from $20 to $50 a month. But if you're planning to stay here longer and maybe you're a digital nomad, you need to get a proper international insurance, which is a little bit more expensive. Starts from $100 until $200, but it's really important to have that one. And just be sure that the doctors here are amazing. They also have private hospitals, which are super amazing. They are even better than in my home country, Germany. And if you're having a travel insurance, it will pay to every hospital that you go. And I wanted to add something because of the safety in Bali. In general, Bali is super safe. As a tourist, especially traveling as a woman, I always felt safe. The people here in Bali are so kind, friendly, like I've never seen it in another country on the whole planet. But I have to say that there is one thing that happens quite sometimes, and that is stealing phones, especially when you're on a motorbike. It happened to me 3 years ago. Someone tried to steal my phone that was mounted on a phone holder on a motorbike. He could succeed, lucky for me, but it happens sometimes, especially in the night, and when you're driving at the back of a Grab Gojek motorbike, just don't try to hold your phone outside and just keep it maybe in front of your stomach so nobody could grab it, or just in your pockets. And when I'm driving at night, I try to not use my phone holder in a motorbike, but in general in Bali it is still super safe, and this does not mean that it has to happen to you. I'm already here 2 weeks now and it has not happened to me at all. Just be careful and you will have an amazing stay. So now you got everything for your perfect Bali arrival. Thanks for liking and subscribing. You can watch my latest video here, and I will see you in my next videos showing you my life as a digital nomad traveling the most beautiful places on earth.